Matt Gaetz withdrew from consideration to be the next Attorney General. That's where we're starting the 7 from the Washington Post. I'm Hannah Jewell. It's Friday, November 22nd. Let's get you caught up with today's 7 stories. Former Florida Congressman Matt Gaetz lasted 8 days as Donald Trump's pick for Attorney General. He announced he was withdrawing from consideration yesterday. He had spent Wednesday trying to garner support for his bid on Capitol Hill. But he faced an all but impossible path to confirmation, even when Republicans take control of the Senate next year. Gaetz has been accused of sexual misconduct and using illegal drugs, which he has denied. A House ethics panel had been investigating the allegations, but it has so far declined to release its report. Illinois Representative Sean Casten, who's a Democrat, spoke to my colleague Rhonda Colvin about that report.
It is critically important for the integrity of the House. It is critically important for the trust of the American people that if you have a member of the House of Representatives who has been accused of sexual misconduct, who has been accused of having sex with a 17-year-old girl, that you can't get away from those allegations just because you resign from your job.
Gaetz's withdrawal was an early setback for the president-elect, but Trump has already announced his next choice to be the country's top law enforcement official. That's Pam Bondi, who served on Trump's impeachment defense team. She also played a leading role in Trump's efforts to overturn the 2020 election results. The U.S. and Israel condemned an international court's arrest warrants for Israeli leaders. That's our second story. Yesterday, the International Criminal Court charged Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and his former defense minister with war crimes and crimes against humanity. The court said it found reasonable grounds to believe that the men bear responsibility for these alleged crimes in Gaza. That includes the use of starvation as a method of warfare, as well as, quote, murder, persecution, and other inhumane acts. President Joe Biden called the warrants outrageous. Netanyahu said the court's decision was anti-Semitic. Netanyahu spoke about the warrants yesterday.
Israel will not recognize the validity of this decision. We will continue to do everything we must do to defend our citizens and defend our state.
The U.S. is not a member of the ICC. But the warrants oblige the 124 states that are members to arrest the 2 men if they enter their territory. That makes it tricky for them to travel internationally, and it further isolates Israel on the world stage. Number 3. Russia launched a new weapon at Ukraine. Russia fired an experimental medium-range ballistic missile yesterday. Russian President Vladimir Putin said it was in response to the Biden administration's recent decision to authorize Ukraine to use long-range U.S. weapons. Ballistic missiles can carry nuclear warheads, though this one did not. It targeted a military factory in eastern Ukraine. Putin warned, though, that the weapon could be used against U.S. interests. And he accused the U.S. of escalating the conflict. The U.S. accused Putin of the same. The Biden administration has said it will rush arms shipments to Ukraine for as long as it can, before Trump takes office. Ground beef products were recalled over E. coli concerns. That's our fourth story. The Detroit-based Wolverine Packing Company recalled more than 167,000 pounds of ground beef products this week. There are concerns that the products could be contaminated with the illness-causing bacteria. They were linked to people who got sick in Minnesota. Officials said the products were shipped to restaurant locations nationwide. So if you work in food service, check your fridges today. Your customers will appreciate it. The recall affects fresh products that have a use-by date of November 14th, and also frozen products whose labels contain a production date of October 22nd. Officials said restaurants should not serve these products. Number 5. A mysterious chemical found in some U.S. tap water was finally identified. For decades, disinfectants called chloramines have been added to many municipal water supplies to kill bacteria and prevent illnesses. That process creates byproducts, and one byproduct has remained mysterious for years. Researchers simply referred to it as unidentified product. Until yesterday, when scientists published research identifying the compound at last. It's called chlorinitramide anion. If you're a chemist and I said that wrong, send your complaints to the7pod@washpost.com. That's the number 7. Anyway, the international research team behind the discovery called for a rapid assessment of its potential toxicity. But there's no need to panic. The researchers are not saying that tap water containing the byproduct is unsafe to drink, or that the finding represents any kind of emergency. All water, including bottled water, contains contaminants. But depending on the results of further tests, the discovery could have implications for many U.S. water systems. Number 6. 2 of the biggest movies of the year are in theaters today. Last year, moviegoers were treated to the bizarre double feature known as Barbenheimer. And now there's another box office clash for them to enjoy, with the simultaneous releases of Wicked and Gladiator II. Nobody seems to be calling this phenomenon Glicked, so I won't either. Wicked has a runtime of 2 hours and 40 minutes, even though it only covers the first act of the hit Broadway musical.
There is no fight we cannot win. Just you and I.
It stars Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande as Elphaba and Glinda. And our critic called it about as good as musical adaptations get. Just watch out for the terrifying CGI flying monkeys. Gladiator II, on the other hand, doesn't sound as promising. Our critic was not entertained by the sequel to the first Gladiator movie, which was released in the year 2000 and won the Oscar for Best Picture. He said the film doesn't really serve a purpose, and it has some glaring historical inaccuracies. But he said there are parts of it that are fun, so that's something. You can find both reviews in our newsletter today. Just follow the link in our show notes. And at number 7, police caught a surprising culprit after kids' shoes kept disappearing from a school. This month, more than 20 individual shoes went missing from a kindergarten in Japan. Police thought it may be the work of some kind of disturbed thief, and they set up cameras to catch the offender. 4 days later, another shoe went missing. Police combed through the video footage, hoping to finally catch their culprit red-handed. But instead, they caught the thief red-pawed. A weasel could be seen dashing off with a single white shoe in its mouth. Weasels are sneaky critters. They're notorious for stealing and stashing things. And police still have no idea what this one did with its stolen treasure. But at least they cracked the case. You can find a video of the daring shoe heist in our newsletter. That's the show for this week. I don't have any Thanksgiving-related pronunciation questions for you this time. So instead, you can just send me your best recipe for pumpkin pie. I'm going to try and make one for the first time this weekend, even though nobody in my family likes it except for me. Email it to the7pod@washpost.com. along with your correct chemical compound pronunciations. The assistant producer of The 7 is Taylor White. The staff writers are me and Jamie Ross. John Taylor is our editor. Special thanks to Sarah Manavis for telling me how to say Elphaba. Additional editing by Christina Quinn. Copy editing is by Melissa No and Thomas Haliba. Mixing and sound design is by Jim Briggs and Justin Garish. Our theme music is by Edith Mudge. Renita Jablonski is our director of audio. I'm Hannah Jewell. Thanks for listening and have a great weekend. I'll meet you back here on Monday.